Morning. First, I'd like to thank everyone for following the Articles of Truth, and I appreciate your signing up for your subscription. And today I would like to talk about something just a little bit different. Yes, everything we talk about is Trump, 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 Trump. Every lie that spews out of the mouths of the entire family, of the Kellyanns, of them all, they're disgusting. But what I'd really like to talk about is a phrase that I heard on the weekend. It was called a cold civil war. Now, I hate the word civil war because that's an oxymoron. There is no such thing as a civil war. They're all bloody and horrible. But what I heard got me thinking about the politics of the United States today. Our government is totally, absolutely, and completely broken. Now, I'm not only talking about the Republicans putting together a health bill in secret and trying to slice it through the Congress. I'm not talking about the fact that Mitch McConnell and every other word out of his mouth is a lie. I'm not talking about Paul Ryan, who never met a rich person he didn't like. I'm talking about the entire atmosphere of the United States government in Washington, D.C. We're at a place that's so screwed up that it's a normal for our TV pundits and radio pundits to say things like, let me quote, he's up for re-election in 2018, therefore he will vote this way or that way. Or he's up for election in 2020, and what should he do to make sure he's elected? It's almost accepted that what's good for the country, what's good for the people, doesn't make a damn bit of difference. The only thing that makes a damn bit of difference is these assholes being reelected. These lying, hypocritical bastards keep getting elected. And what the hell have they done for the... What is someone like, for instance, John McCain, who I understand is sick now, but I just pick on John. What the hell is he doing for the people of Arizona? Not a damn thing. What the hell is Mitch McConnell or Rand Paul or Cruz? What are they doing for the people? Nothing. Hello. Not only are they doing nothing, they're doing worse than nothing. They're destroying the lives of human beings. And they're doing it with lies and smiles. If you listen to some of the absolute garbage, the trash that comes out of the mouths of these Republicans in the Congress, it is disgusting. Now, I would be a little off if I didn't also mention that a lot of the hypocrisy comes straight out of the mouths of the Democrats as well. These people, once they get into the Congress of this nation, it's like getting one single sardine out of a can of sardines. It ain't going to happen. You can't do it. They are so entrenched. They are so used to their power games. They are so used to the money, the influence, the authority that they have. It's impossible to get them out. And what's worse is the assholes do nothing for them, for the people. They only do it for themselves. I mean, just recently I was reading an article about this new Naval Destroyer, the Zumwalt class. If you remember, Zumwalt was an admiral in the United States Navy. In fact, what people probably don't know is his daughter's an OBGYN that actually at one time worked with my wife, who was also an OBGYN. But anyway, this new destroyer, supposedly a stealth destroyer, the price has gone up to like $3.5 billion a piece. $3.5 billion for a destroyer. It got so bad that originally they ordered 30-some. Then they dropped the order down to 20-some. Then they dropped it down to 7. How about now they dropped it down to 3 and said, that's all, folks. 3 destroyers. Meanwhile, the government has spent tens of billions of our tax dollars and dollars that we borrowed from the Chinese and everyone else to build these damn things. And what the hell for? No one is being fired for their stupidity. It's unbelievable. It's like the new, I think it's the F-35. Another incredible piece of garbage that doesn't even have a gun. Let me say it again. Doesn't have a gun that works yet, but it's out there. The bottom line is, and what I wanted to talk about really is not the joke of our offense department, which people like to call defense department. No. The problem we have is the Congress. The Congress has become so politicized. We have a president of the United States in office today who is a fucking embarrassment to the world. The guy could not, if you set out to make or find someone who was absolutely, completely, totally incompetent, someone who was impossible to do the job. He can't put two sentences together. Well, that's what we have in Donald John. Donald John is beyond an embarrassment. The whole world is laughing at us. And we're sitting there praying that the little box that the Air Force officer carries with the nuke codes, personally, I hope they change the name and number of the codes so he can't do anything. Because I wouldn't trust him to operate on a school crossing as a school crossing guard, let alone the President of the United States. The guy is pathetically sick. The presidency is a cancer. The entire administration is like a malignant cancer spreading throughout our country and across the world. Disgusting. It's worse than we have spent the last 100 or so years invading countries all over the globe, having involvement in the death of their leaders, like we did in Vietnam, like we did in multiple countries in South and Central America, like we did in Iran, like we did in Iraq and Afghanistan. We have spent 100 years invading countries all over this globe because of they, quote unquote, didn't like the government. What the hell do you think? What would happen if a country decided we better invade the United States because that Trump, that lunatic, no telling what he could do? Where are all these people that have been voting to invade countries all over the globe? Where are they when it comes to Trump? They're looking for Bob Mueller to put together something that shows that he's colluded and has committed treason. How about impeaching him because he's a dumb son of a bitch? How about impeaching him because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing? How about impeaching him because he's incompetent? Those are pretty damn good reasons. If I were running that company, and I've run companies before, I could tell you if I had an employee that was as stupid as he was, first I would fire the human resources person that hired him. Then I would fire him as fast as you could, say hello. The guy is sick. But the problem, getting back to what I wanted to talk about, is our cold, I hate to say civil war. The Republicans will not, under any circumstances, go after and impeach this guy, even though the Jesus disciple Pence is waiting in the wings. Now, I personally get nauseous at the thought of Mike Pence being anything but I wouldn't even trust him to be a dog catcher, let alone the president. But I somehow or other I have to balance and say, well, would we be better off with this mindless jerk or Donald Trump? Well, the mindless jerk wouldn't start a war with North Korea. In fact, the mindless jerk is just mindless. He wouldn't have gotten 20% of the vote if he had to run again in his home state. So that's one of the reasons they took him out of there. But the bottom line is the Republican Party is sitting in Congress watching and seeing what's going on. And instead of saying, wow, we have to protect the United States of America, they're not doing that. They're saying, Collusion's not a crime. Oh, you mean they all met with the Russians? There's no crime. There's nothing on the books that said the president's son and son-in-law and campaign chairman can't just go have a chit-chat with Russians. There's nothing against the law about that. That's their newest. Never mind that Donald John has been lying through his fat face since the day he was elected. Since the day he decided to run for president. Never mind that every day more lies come out. Everything they say is a fraud. It's amazing to me. And what Hillary called, I forget what Hillary called, these 63 million morons, that's what I call them. Ignorant, uninformed, stupid, mostly bigoted, hateful jackasses that voted for a man that is capable of destroying your nation, you morons. They voted for this guy. And this guy with his teeny little fingers and his buddy Putin, who's a little teeny guy. I mean, the two of them walking next to each other was sort of funny. I think you noticed most of the time Putin was sitting because he didn't want to stand next to Trump. Of course, Trump's belly would have knocked him over. But the truth is, the Republicans, this is a group of people, forget that they're bigoted, hateful, racist pigs. Forget that. Forget that I cannot tolerate the lies that spew out of the mouths of most. Now, I got to interrupt myself. Not all Republicans are horrible people. Let me be really honest about that. There are I'm sure, millions. Oh, I sound like Donald Trump. Remember what he said? Most Mexicans are rapists. But I will say this. Real Republicans didn't vote for Donald John. Real Republicans probably didn't even vote. They probably sat home and couldn't stand it. Real Republicans felt about Trump, watch me get hate mail on this, the way I felt about Hillary. I didn't want Hillary to get the nomination in the first place because I knew that Republicans hated her. Not because she herself was so bad, but I knew damn well there was no chance she was going to win. She's hated by the right wing. And I was sadly right. I was an Elizabeth Warren supporter. Then I was a Bernie supporter. And then I held my nose, as I always said in blog after blog. I held my nose and voted for Hillary like I always do. Because the thought of voting for Donald John, it would be like going through a preparation for a colonoscopy to vote for Donald John. I couldn't deal with that. That would be, whoa, no more than I can deal with. The problem that I want to again come back to, really, is it's the government that's screwed up. We need to do a lot of things to help this nation. But I honestly and truthfully believe that one of the things that needs to be at the top of the priority for this country is solid as rock term limits. And I don't only just mean regular term limits. I mean, we need a law that's very simple, a couple of paragraphs. No one can hold a federally elected office for more than 12 years combined with every office they've ever been elected to. And that means simply if you're elected to the House of Representatives for 2 years, that gives you 10 more. And if you're elected to the Senate after that, that gives you, you went from 2 plus 6 is 8. That gives you 4 more, which means if you run for Senate again, you can only serve 4 years and you resign. No one should be in any federal elected office more than 12 years, with one exception. And that exception is very simple. If a person is in any part of the 12 years, and he or she runs for president, they are allowed to get, and this is another thing that should change, 1 6-year term, period. No 4 and 4, not 8, 1 6-year. Because we don't want anyone casting a vote that helps them maintain their power base. That, ladies and gentlemen, is bullshit. They should be there to care for us, and they're not. And that, my friends, tells me without question that this country, the country, is in for a very, very, very long, bad time. And I'm not talking about the stock market, because the market is up, because that group of people, I shouldn't say it that way, that group, because I'm in that group, but there are people that buy stock and bonds, and then there are the rest of the world, the United States, that doesn't. And I'm here to tell you that the people of this nation, all of the people of this nation, as ill-informed as most are, and that's sad, they need to be taken care of. There are human rights that are not being taken care of, whether it's water, air, food. The country is going to hell. And I hate to sound like Donald John, but with people like Donald John making rules and regulations, or should I say eliminating rules and regulations, this country is in a downward spiral. And we need to do something. We need to take a page out of the days of Vietnam. We need to take a page out of the book of what's going on presently in Venezuela. Venezuela had 7 million people in the streets. Why the hell can't we get 7 million? Imagine 7 million people marching in Washington, D.C. Michael Moore, you want to really do something? You want to change something? Show me 7 million people in Washington, D.C. Show me 2 or 3 or 4 million in the state of Texas telling Ted Cruz to resign because he's not going to get reelected. Show me millions in every one of these red states. That would be something to see. Black Lives Matter? Get off your ass and quit complaining about how bad things are, and go out there and register every black American citizen there is in this country. Sign them up for voting by mail. Do something. Don't sit there and bitch. Don't sit there and complain about how rough things are. Get off your lazy asses and let's make a difference. And the difference that you can make, just like the difference every organization can make, is get the people out to vote. With that, I will sign off. I have a new session that I'm going to be talking with you about this week. And it's basically going to talk about American exceptionalism and the destiny, that preordained destiny that was talked about in the days of Thomas Jefferson. I want to thank you once again for watching and listening. I want to thank you once again for signing up and subscribing to my series of articles of truth. I want to please remind you to like it. I want to please remind you to send it and ask your friends, your relatives, and even your enemies to sign a subscription and watch it and like it. Thank you and have a great, wonderful day. Bye-bye.